I see. You've chosen the bow staff as your weapon. You must practice with it until it is like an extension of your own body. Hey, man. How's Tim's training doing? Is he ready to go out as Robin yet?
Pedro, 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 praticamente il meglio di Santa Fe. Pedro, 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 fidati di me.
You're not worried about, like, the same thing that happened to Jason happening to Tim, are you?
Pedro, 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 praticamente il meglio di Santa Fe. Pedro, 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 fidati di me. Pedro, 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 praticamente il meglio.
I'm sure it'll be fine. What is up? How's the Legion of Comic Collectors doing today? Well, today I have a pretty cool haul. Went by STL Comics again and got a few mail calls. I tell you, all on my trip, I was searching for comic book stores and either could not find any or they were closed. So I had an itch to go to STL Comics. But before we jump into that, I got, this is Superman 710. Got a really cool deal on this. This is the variant cover, and this is an Adam Hughes cover. So very, very cool. Happy to add that. I also picked up an Action Comics 1. This is one I ordered while I was gone, but it didn't beat me home. This, of course, being the Superman Day facsimile foil, and it is pretty cool. And I picked up at the same time the Superman 233 facsimile foil. So just some cool Superman Day stuff. Not a ton of mail calls this week. But I wanted to go to STL Comics, and I decided that I just wanted to look through only dollar books. Wasn't going to look at anything else. He had put up a Superman Spider-Man Treasury, the second, like, red one, for $20. I was going to try to pick that up if it was still there, but it had been sold. So I looked through nothing but dollar books on this trip, and it was hard, because probably a month or two ago, he bought an entire Batman collection. And that is comic books, but it is a ton of toys. There's tons of stuff from, like, the Batman movies, like Batcave sets, Batmobile still in box, tons and tons of DC-related figures, super, super cheap, hard to pass up on it. But I just stuck to my guns. I really wanted to fill in some runs and get as much for $1 as I could. The only non-comic would be this Comics Interview, issue 70. Always pick up comic book related magazines in the dollar bins. They're just fun to read. So now on to the haul. There was some newer stuff, which I always enjoy getting for $1. A while ago I picked up, I forget, like the first dozen maybe issues of this and a lot off eBay pretty cheap. Do eventually want to fill it in because I have a complete Birds of Prey run up to this new series. Batgirl issue 3. Catwoman 71. I have a complete Catwoman run up to issue 50 of this series. I don't know why, but randomly I was sitting around wishing I had just this issue of We Are Robin #1. Found like 3 of them and picked this copy up. And from here on out, it should be a ton of run fillers. I'm trying to finish up a lot of the various series I collect. And this is Suicide Squad New 52. And found a really good chunk of it. I think I only need 2 or 3 issues now to finish it. I am in the process of collecting Suicide Squad, specifically Volume 1. I only need a handful of, and they're surprisingly hard to come by. And in some places, even kind of expensive, like non-key issues from that series for like 10, 15 bucks. Issue 0. And then Hawkman. I have a hankering to read some Hawkman. And I tell you, before I completely decided I was going to collect Hawkman, you'd see 50 issues of Hawkman just sitting together every time you look through dollar books. And since I've decided to, he's suddenly hard to find. But this is a cool issue. I bought new in store every issue of Dark Knight's Metal, the original. And I believe there's like a Hawkman Lost. And somehow through all that, I never got Hawkman Found. Been one of those things when you figure out you're missing it, it bothers you. And I think it was like the cheapest I've seen online is like $8 plus $7 shipping. So super happy to find it in the dollar bins. This is the B cover, so not the cool foil or whatever they did back then, but it is a Jim Lee cover. I found a few Hawkman. I really want to fill in Hawkman, Hawk World, and Savage Hawkman. Sadly, did not find any of those issues. This is an earlier volume. We got Guy Gardner, Black Condor on issue 20. And this is an earlier series than that. This is actually the final issue of this series, issue 17. Which is super cool. Love finding last issues. And in issue 14. And that is all the Hawkman I could find. Speaking about filling in the Flashpoint minis and one-shots, we have Citizen Cold. I probably found a short box worth of Flashpoint all sitting together, and these were the only books I didn't have out of it. This next one's pretty cool. I collected a full run of Sandman Mystery Theater. This is a prestige one-shot hardcover book called Sandman Midnight Theater. So super, super cool to add that. This is a series I'm seriously considering getting rid of. I enjoy it, but man, it is tough to find anything Constantine, anything Hellblazer. Did find this in the dollar bin. This is issue 21. But man, it is tough to find these books. I thought this was a special, a one-shot, but it is issue 1 of a 5-issue mini Raven. Kind of regret picking that up. I don't know if I'm going to track it down. I found some of these. We have a DC Millennium Watchmen, as well as some of these Silver Age classics. So here's the first Justice League, first Flash, and the classic Green Lantern 76. So if you've watched my videos, you're going to be saying on this next book, I thought you completed this series, and so did I. The Legion. So somehow my wires got crossed, and when I thought I picked up the last 2 issues I needed, I picked up 1 issue I needed and 1 issue I had. This is the last issue I needed. I assume it's harder to find because it has 2 Darkseids duking it out on the cover. But finally finished this. Was a bit irritated getting a double instead of the last issue I needed. But we finally have it, and we can finally pull this series back out and read it from issue 1 to the end. Pretty sure I have this too. Don't mind having a double, but my CLZ said it was the only issue I needed, so I grabbed it just to be safe. This I'm excited about. Way back when I had picked up a trade of this, and then realized with Jim Lee art and the cool story, you gotta have these singles. And had found, this was another thing, it seemed like every time you looked at a Superman box, there's 30 issues of this. Haven't seen a Superman Unchained in forever, but managed to come across a run of it and get the final issue. And something on the goals list, along with all of these Bronze, Copper Age DC series, like DC Presents, 100-Page Spectacular. We have Super Team Family. Trying to track these down. I sort of have a soft spot now for all of the DC series where each issue's like different characters. A lot of fun to read. And this, coolly enough, issues, I think it's a little cut off up here. I believe it's issue 15, and this is the final issue of the series. Back to some more run fillers. Only been a few weeks, maybe a month, since I really got serious about collecting these Rebirth series. And with what I found here, I have all of this series except issue 44 and 45. So a lot of really cool Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps books. We got Zod, Controllers, and Dark Stars. It has been a minute since I read this series. Apart from unmaking Kyle as a White Lantern, I feel like I enjoyed this series. So I'm excited to read it again. That is a B cover. Most of these are A's. Alright. Maybe the coolest find. I found a run of Jenny Friesen covers of Wonder Woman. Found 13 I needed. There were some I already had that I left. And disappointingly, issue 25, which is a really cool cover, wasn't here. I think these are the less desirable Jenny Friesen covers, and that's why they wound up in the dollar bin. Issue 24. But I'm super happy to add them. Getting a chunk of Friesen at once. Very, very cool. And then this Wonder Woman Future's End, the 3D. And it feels like hitting the gold mine to find any of this Wonder Woman Volume 2. I believe I have just around 100 issues, and there's 228 if you count issue 0 and issue 1 million. This is slowly becoming maybe a top series to go after, but super, super cool. Perez cover, issue 14, and yeah, maybe my favorite find in the dollar bins, which is telling you how hard it is to find this volume of Wonder Woman. And then probably the chunk of what I found was Detective Comics. A lot of these newer ones. Can't beat paying $1. They would be $5 new. And I do like these covers. Grundy. Into some earlier Rebirth. Came real close to finishing out at least the first 100 issues. I think I have up through 150. I'm not sure. But like the first 100 and something of Batman starting from Rebirth. But a lot of holes on the detective run. And this is filtered in nicely. Still not as complete a run as Batman. But I'm getting there. Found a good chunk of them. I really like this cover. That is a nice cover with Asbats. I do apologize. And then the last little stack we have here. Some more early Rebirth Detective. Lady Shiva. That is a great cover. More Lady Shiva. And then we have some New 52, which is on the goals list. I need 2 Batman New 52s. I think I need about 5 or so Detective now with these 2. And then another series I have like the first 20 issues of that I'm trying to collect in singles. Really cool Hush cover here. There is a Batman and Robin Eternal that I will go after at some point. Wasn't sure if I had a sealed one, so I just picked it up for $1. The Shadow of the Bat one, polybagged. And then the last 2 books is actually pretty wild. 159 is the newest issue, I believe. And that's part 2 of the Hush. And I found the 2 newer issues of Batman right before that in the dollar bins, which is pretty cool. But there you have it. That's my haul for this week. A lot of really cool stuff in the dollar bins. Let me know what you think below of this haul, if you're collecting any of these series too. And with that, I will see you all later.